How are we doing, guys? Welcome back to Barca Buzz. It's your Real Oviedo 1, Barcelona 3 post-match reaction and post-match review of the game. And it was an interesting one last night. I think it's a game where we go 1-0 down through a moment of madness from Juan Garcia. The first sort of half an hour or so of the game, nothing really was happening. Obviously, Barca were dominating possession, as you would very much expect. In that type of scenario, Oviedo sitting very deep. Barca not really creating many opportunities, some half chances, some wayward shots, but nothing really happening, not really putting Oviedo under any really significant pressure in that first sort of half an hour or so. And Oviedo take their chance. It's a long ball forward. It's a pass that Juan Garcia has dealt with, 10, 20 times this season already with ease, off his line, sweeping well. But this time around, he does the initial part right. He gets off his line very, very quickly. He gets no real pressure on him, and he just plays a wayward pass. And to be fair, it's a great finish. There's no question about it. It's a great finish. I do think as well, Gerard Martin and Eric Garcia can react a little bit quicker, especially Gerard Martin. I think if he just sees it that split second quicker, he gets that ball off the line for me. I really do believe that. I think that's maybe the difference between the great defenders, of this kind of era and the good and decent defenders of this era. I think maybe Eric Garcia was a little bit harsh on, but certainly Gerard Martin, I think, can react a bit quicker to that situation. But it is a rare mistake from Juan Garcia. A couple of moments as well before Oviedo scores, Juan Garcia was kind of nowhere on the corners. Some excellent delivery from Oviedo, from Santi Cazorla. And Juan Garcia is just kind of in no man's land. And, they're not really turning into big chances for Oviedo, but they are kind of like half chances. And, it was a little bit of an off night, to say the least, really, for Juan Garcia. I think he recovered well in the second half, made a good save late on in the game as well to keep it at 3-1 at that point and not make it a nervy last sort of 5 or 10 minutes. But yeah, a rare off night for Juan Garcia, and nothing to get too concerned about because he has been excellent all season so far. Probably has been our second best player after Pedri so far this season. So I wouldn't be too concerned with Juan Garcia there. It was one of those, though. We sort of had a 10-minute spell in that first half where we just looked a little bit threatening. But I thought the first half, just there wasn't enough in it for us. There wasn't enough in it. And it was no surprise to me that Hansi Flick made a change. Marc Casado went off. Frenkie de Jong went on. I don't think Marc Casado did loads wrong. I didn't think it was a terrible performance from Marc Casado, but it was an average performance. That's the most important thing. It was an average performance, and Hansi Flick will not put up with average performances. And you need a lot more than an average performance to get into this Barcelona team, especially ahead of Frenkie de Jong as the first team starter. And Frenkie de Jong came on in that sort of number 6 role in front of the back four. Pedri and Dani Olmo ahead of him, and he just changed the game. Once again, Frenkie de Jong changed the game. Second half, we were a lot better. We still weren't at our absolute best, but we kind of were much more dominant. I think we created much better quality of chances, and Frenkie de Jong, I thought, was central to all of that. We had a couple of moments. I should mention as well, Marcus Rashford had that chance just before half time that was very well saved by Oviedo's keeper. It was an excellent cutback from Rafinha, but it was the second half where we saw a lot more chances be created. Ferran Torres had a couple of decent chances, but didn't really take him. And again, it was another frustrating one for Ferran Torres. He had an excellent game last time out, but as that actual central striker, he's not really done enough this season to really be starting ahead of Robert Lewandowski. And I think when Robert Lewandowski fully gets back into it, back for this injury he's had, I think he will be the number one striker. I think certainly against PSG in the week, next week rather, Robert Lewandowski will be starting that game for me. I very much expect that to be the case. But yeah, it is one of those. Robert Lewandowski came on quite early in the second half as well. Not too surprising. And surprisingly, it was Rafinha who came off. Marcus Rashford went onto the right-hand side. Ferran Torres went onto the left, and Robert Lewandowski went through the middle. So that was quite an interesting one for me. I didn't think Rafinha deserved to come off. I thought Dani Olmo, for example, was much more deserving to come off at that point in the game. But it was interesting. Flick wanted to stick with his 4-3-3 with Dani Olmo a little bit deeper alongside Pedri. And in the end, you have to say it worked. You would have to say there's no question it worked. But when you go to the goals itself, an excellent bit of skill of Ronald Araujo for the first goal. And to be fair, good instincts from Ferran Torres, to get that turn in the box, which created the situation in the first place. And Eric Garcia showing striker-like instincts to get the goal. And that's another important goal from Eric Garcia. He's been excellent at getting the goals for us. And that's a very underrated part of Eric Garcia's game. There's no question about it. There was a lot of important goals he scored now for Barca in the last year, in the last calendar year. Never mind, the last season or so. So it's very good to see Eric Garcia taking his chances. The second goal, well, we have a chance just after that as well. Rafinha, 1-on-1. One that I'd expect Rafinha to do a little bit better with. Excellent work off Pedri once again. It was, as always, superb once again last night. Ferencváros and Pedri were the standouts for me in that midfield. Great chance for Rafinha. Well saved by the keeper. So we don't take that particular chance. And then, we do get the second goal. A little bit out of nothing. We probably were having a quiet spot in the game. Superb delivery from Frenkie de Jong in sort of the right half space. Gets forward. Great delivery into Robert Lewandowski, and it's an excellent header. Robert Lewandowski still has a lot to do. He was alert in the situation, and he took a chance that I don't think Ferran Torres would have took, to be honest. And that is the difference between a good striker and a very, very good striker, or one of the best strikers of his era, if not the best striker of his era. And it just shows when Robert Lewandowski's on the pitch, things can always happen in a split moment, and that just shows, in that kind of instance with Robert Lewandowski. The third goal comes from a set piece, excellent delivery from Marcus Rashford and Ronald Araujo, who I thought had another really good game. Another really good game for Ronald Araujo. Good battle with Solomon Rondon. And in the end, I think he's had a really good season so far, and it was another really good performance, and he deserved the goal. It was an excellent work for the first goal, and it's been a really good start to the season for Ronald Araujo, and he will definitely start against PSG for me. I think he is definitely Ronald Araujo and Pau Kubasi feels like Hansi Flick's go-to centre-back pairing now, and I think that was kind of like preparation for the PSG game. Those two started together, and I thought it worked well again. Oviedo had one chance just after we make it 3-1. And obviously they get the goal from Juan Garcia's mistake. But other than that, I thought we defended really well. I think we have defended really well since the turn of the international break. I think we've come back. The high line's better now. It feels better organised. We're catching Oviedo and opposition offside more now. But all in all, I want a bit more from Barca in games like this, away from home. I don't think we've been particularly convincing in the away games. But having said that, we still score 3 goals. We could have gone 5 points back last night. At one point, we were 5 points back from Real Madrid. So a very important win nonetheless. We put pressure on Real Madrid ahead of the Madrid derby. Obviously, they played before we play Sociedad. But again, I feel a little bit, I thought it was a bit of an average performance by our standards, but we still score 3 goals, and that shows the standards that we have under Hansi Flick. So all in all, it was another good one for us last night, guys. I've been Oscar Marriott. This has been Barca Buzz. Oviedo 1, Barcelona 3. Barca put pressure back on Real Madrid. Let's hope. Obviously, it's very early in the season, but we shall see. Hit that like button, guys, and the subscribe button as well, and I will see you later. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.